So sometimes some things you will hear here are things that you've heard before, but that's what you need now. Sometimes it might be things that will sound foolish, but remember that you need the man and the little girl. Don't ignore it. Okay, so I'll start with Mommy Mo. So while write your questions so that we can already, someone needs to pick up the questions. But first of all, Mommy Mo, so when it comes to marriage and rising marriage, what has been your experience and what do you think that women out there need to know a little bit more?
Is when Paul wrote Ephesians, did he write it to married people? You cannot understand the portion about marriage if you do not read the whole of Ephesians as a letter, which this is what Paul did. He wrote to the Ephesians. In chapter 1, he told them all what God had done for them. In chapter 2, he reminded them that the difference between them and the people who don't yet know Jesus Christ is just that God in grace gave them faith to believe. So if you have a husband or a wife that is perplexing you, the difference between you and them is just that God showed you grace, opened your eyes, gave you ability to follow him. And until that spouse receives the same, they have no capacity to do a lot of the things that you are making yourself unhappy about. Wow. So demanding it is not going to bring it into them. Crying is not going to bring it to them. Even praying is not going to bring it. This is what I mean by praying is not going to bring it. She alluded to it. The fact that you fasted for 7 days is not what is going to change the man. What is going to change the man is God working in you. Now, if Jesus came and some people didn't believe him and Jesus died, did they not believe him after he left? Do you get the point? So you pray knowing that God can do it, but then you continue to walk along with the person knowing that God is working. You cannot be breaking your heart and crying and falling apart because of that. Now, are there practical issues that will arise out of that? Yes. Number one, if you are in a situation that you recognize that there is clearly abuse, it's important for you to step out. Yeah. There is no this thing for that. It's important to step out. Number two, if you are having external issues like not having children, like having in-laws, like the economy is affecting you, you are the only person who is earning money, those are practical issues. When you are finished praying, you must also ask yourself, so how are we going to address it practically? So it doesn't matter how long you pray for, if you don't begin to look for addressing those things practically, you will not get a solution. The third kind are the one of just, I'm disappointed. I thought this man was going to be, like it happened in my marriage. I met my husband. I was born in a Baptist, go to church we were church people, just like your husband. So if you tell me I'm a Christian, my interpretation of your Christianity is that all of us are the same. I married my husband and found out that he thinks that church is where you should be going once in a while. And he not only thinks that church is where you should be going once in a while, he asked me, do you want to become a pastor's wife? The next time you go carry your belongings and go and start living with the pastor. Now, that is dashed expectations. No amount of rewinding it is going to make my situation to be different. I had a choice. I could look at it as a man who was holding me back, or thank God for the older people who were around me, Christians. Or I could look at it and say to myself, what if God had sent you to a mission field and you are the only missionary there? Would you say you are missing fellowship? So those are the things. Those are the things. Every time ask yourself, remember what I told you. you don't do a rediffusion, go and look at this, you see the photograph. But times have changed. The principles have not changed, but times have changed. The same way you won't use a rediffusion to the nation, you won't even get the news today if you use a rediffusion. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me so much time.
Thank you so much, Mamibo. I think one interesting thing I took there is the mission field. It's really, it helps. It opens things. NHN, chew. Okay, so before we go into the questions, I want to also hear from you. So when we talk about reviving marriages, what has been your experience and what you wish the women to know?
When I go for speaking engagements, I love using myself as an example. I'm a bundle of testimonies. And to be honest, that's why when mommy said that to you, when you pray, and that one, I don't go crazy. You know, because I'm a product of answered prayers. There is nothing, the Bible says there is nothing too difficult for God to do. Even your husband. The Bible also says that the heart of the man is in the hand of God. There's nothing, no matter how difficult the man is. I don't even know why men are here. Yeah, there will be a lot of restrictions, there are a lot of things I can't share today. I love speaking. I'm sent to women, just like when she said she was sent to women. So most of my messages have to do with women. So when you come to my page and you see the guy saying, we are here, oh, yeah, all these queen, the kings are here, oh, you will still see me write, good morning, my beautiful queens, because I'm sent to the queens. The men come in, and funny enough, the men have more testimonies than the women. Yeah. Now, so I came from, I'm actually a case study. First, I'm married to a man that was broken, okay? So he's been there. I was never there, but I have a history. You get it? So now, how did I arrive here? I have the best marriage ever. People say to me, you can't have it all. I have it all. It is not, I'm not making mine. I am telling you the truth. I have it all. I read somebody, Patara called me a few days ago and said to me, okay, there's something you need to get down on the line, on the internet. It's so bad that you shouldn't. And I said, what is it? He said, they're trying to invite us somewhere. The people just Googled my name to look for my profile and something popped up. Haven't you seen it? I said, what is it? You understand? And then she told me, she said there was this thing that the article they wrote about me, and it's actually online. They called me a house girl. I snatched somebody's husband. I'm sleeping with a pastor. I scattered a pastor's marriage and all that. I said, really? You know? But I went ahead to check what it was actually. Then I saw it. First of all, my spirit was down. I said to myself, who is doing this? And why are they? But when I checked the date, that one was published in January. And I remembered I had a challenge in January. So I knew where they were coming from. Now, because people don't know who you are, they make up stories about you. Now, one thing, does that define me?
No.
Was I ever a house girl?
No.
Did I snatch anybody's husband?
No.
So should it bother me?
No.
No, it shouldn't bother me. If the two want to remain online, to remain online. If you don't want to invite me, don't invite me. I'm not meant to be there.
Exactly.
You know, God will always fight your battle for you. You know, I have a clean slate. I'm not owing anybody any explanation. And that is the truth. So now I have this guy. In January, why I'm bringing up the stories, because I know a lot of you will have that story. Some of you have read it. Some of you follow me, so you know what's going on. So I just want to clear the air right now. So I owe that to those of you here. You know, in that January when this whole thing started, and I was like, what? What's going on? Apparently, My husband, quickly, they sent a message to my husband. He was sent a message and said, oh, your wife is in so hotel. Yeah, your wife is in Nikon, not even so hotel. They called the Nikon, called the room number. And then she's sleeping with this pastor right now as they speak. I was by my husband's side. My husband picked up the phone. He looked at me. He looked at the message. He got up because he actually gave me a treat to that same hotel. In that same room. The same room number. When the devil want to mess you up, that's why it's good to pray. He looked at me. He looked at the message. He got up from the bed. Our son was in the middle. He slept with us. My daughter was in the sitting area. It's a suite. He went there. She's there. He went to the kitchen area. Nobody. He went to the toilet. He didn't see anybody. With his gun, though, he brought out his gun. So I was just going, what was it? He said, he looked at me. He looked at me, maybe let me read it first. Give me. And I read it. Sent from my own friend. Dear, wow. There is nothing as bad as when it is somebody you know. You understand? Because it makes the story sound true. When the devil wants to deal with you, he looks for people that are close to you. But guess what? My husband had to quickly call the hotel and ask them, who booked for this room? They told you, Organ, are you? I said, no. Are you sure? Say yes. Can you bring the receipt upstairs? Did I sign? Say yes. No, it was that bad. I'm trying to share this so that you get to understand the angle where mommy talked about understanding. You know, there are certain marriages. This is my marriage life. This is what happened. You know, and then this whole thing happened in January defined my marriage. You know, the respect I had for my husband became times 20. Do you understand? And I never knew. Do you know, the hotel people came up, brought the list. My husband saw his signature. I signed it. I said it. I signed it. My husband lost it for like 20 minutes, you know. But until he saw his signature, he now asked himself, but where am I? I signed this. I invited you when we came in from Dubai. I told you guys to come in from Dubai, the whole family, so I will spend time together in Hilton. So I invited, so why did they say this pastor is, and who is this? And I said to him, I said to him, I don't know. Now, when I said I don't know, my husband said, hey, before you now say it's my mother. Oh, you say you're my ex-wife. He took the phone. He called his boys. My husband is privileged to have worked with the Nigerian intelligence in the Nigerian Navy. So everything security is at the top of it. All he needs to do is just one call. And every detail on the blog, who wrote it, you know, all of you go there as anonymous. Very good. There's nothing like anonymous. So when you go under those fake names, I will give you your real name. No. Yes. I will give you your real name. So all my husband wanted to do was to first, he wants to be sure. Because since I went to that church to go and minister last year, as I got home, baby, you have to go to that church. The man is loaded. I know. As I'm appearing by church with that, I can't just see if you see the hospitality. You know, so what I was wondering is that at the time he asked me, because when we go to church, on our way back from church, I will log in to this other church. But I said, come, are we going to change church? You know, so when he received that message, the first thing that will come to his head is that, I talk, there must be something. And like the saying goes, there is no fuel without fire. I mean, there's no fire without smoke. Whichever was. So he decided as the man of the house to find out what was going on. So investigations went out. It took us 3 weeks and it came out. But at that 3 weeks, I was asking myself, because he just said, I talk, Mohammed, hold on. You talk to my wife now. Then, so Mohammed gave me phone. I spoke to Captain Mohammed. He said, Madam, all I need is your password, I need your email, I need your access to enter your Facebook, I need access to enter your Instagram, I want access to enter your, and I said everything. So I asked myself, I hope I've not gone to say anything. I need access, your phone. In fact, you don't need to, the phone one, they don't even take permission. The MTN will give them. So I said to myself, have I chatted with anyone? I started thinking. So I asked the husband, what are we going to start the research? Let me know, because I knew some very long time ago, my ex-boyfriend contacted me. So that was where my own headache was. It wasn't even in all those things, because I knew those ones were lies. Anyway, the results came out, and guess what? They were my friends. They were people I trusted. They were people that eat with me. They were people I borrowed money from. They were people I borrowed money to. They were people I even borrowed money to their own husbands. There are people I paid their children's school fees. There's nothing as bad as that. But you know why? You know why that happened? That's how bad the world was bad. Because the devil knew. And the only way he could stop it was to look for a story to put up out there so that nobody gets it. But I don't know how most of you didn't see it. Some of you, because anywhere I go to say, I never read it, I didn't see it. In fact, Tara is just Tara told me that she's just hearing it. That somebody just called her attention to it. That it mean that time. But I see you now. I was seeing you now. I said, God, that was happening. You did.
And I even sent a message to one particular girl that was writing on your page, and she never replied.
It's that sad. It was that bad. But to God be all the glory. Writing and changing and rewriting, they replying themselves. So it makes them look at it. Oh, so you have so many enemies, yes, but the same set of people. And that was when we got to realize that they were my friends and all that. So if it was another husband, they won't have carried out an investigation. And one of their communication, one of their what they kept on saying that by the time we finish this one, this thing, tomorrow, they don't kick her. That mouth that they make with the husband, she'll get out of the house. That was the reason I don't know.
I know the reason. There are people out there who the desire is to know. The desire is to make marriage repulsive to people. So when you become somebody who is saying marriage is worthy, the only thing that they can do to pull you down, especially when you have demonstrated so much, is for them to now say, upon all what she was saying, see what happened to her. She was only pretending marriage is not good. That's how terrible, that's how much people do not want marriages to succeed.
Thank God, God actually intervened. All we did was just to pray. And then God took over. I'm not perfect, honestly. I don't want you to say, oh, but she's so sweet, but she's not like that. I am not perfect. There's a lesson I learned from the whole thing that happened to me in January. Actually, like she said, you have to ask your own self questions. Now, that's out of marriage. What is the problem? Why are these girls? Why me? What did I do? There must be something you must have done. I searched and no sin. That is the truth. It broke my heart though. I searched, I don't know what the issue is until she will wear for the next 7 years. It's every day. If it's oversized, we pin it at the back. She has pictures. She has photo books. I did more for my daughter than I did for my son. Because I love pictures. So I was just showing her off. He said, so she gave back, she's a single mom. So, my pictures were just speaking. So I will show you. I have a cute girl. You know, that's my daughter. Are you serious? Yes. So we say their mother said I'm not good enough because I have a daughter. That they're Catholics or I don't know. Shady went. I have 3 guys that left. Just the same thing. And they're church boys. Until my husband came. But he was my friend, like I said to you. I was busy organizing wife for him until I eventually married him. So, but while I was waiting on God for my husband, I was praying. There's this scripture God gave to me as soon as I became born again. It's in the book of Proverbs chapter 31, verse 29. I don't know if you're there. This word is what has helped me in both my marriage, my business, my singlehood. Everything about me is in that word. The Bible says that many of his daughters
have done fastiously, but thou excellest them all.
Praise the Lord. He ministered to me and said, many of my daughters have done excellently well. Uzo, she's done excellently well. She's my daughter. Buki, over excellent. She's my daughter. Binta, she's done. She's my daughter. But you have excelled them all. He said it's not about beauty. Because some of them are fair, just as pretty as she is. You know? And he says it's not about favor. Because so many will come and enchant these guys with all the cars and all the gifts. He said, but because you have chosen to love me, to serve me, to make me your foundation, he said, you shall be praised. You are the one that is chosen. That was what that word ministered to me. So I've used it right from when I was still single. So I knew that I can never be a second hand. I knew I can't be a side chick. How you want to side it? I am just too much to even be your friend. It's a big privilege, you know, for me to even talk to you. You should consider yourself. That's how I started carrying myself. But I had a pastor. Do you know what? I just want to build. All I was doing was building my self-confidence. Despite my past, you cannot talk me down. My lecturers have never for once asked me, who is your husband? Are they okay? They can't. How do you want to ask me that question? Or is it my classmates? You're pregnant, who is the father of it? Are you okay? You can't ask me. Because the way I carried myself, when I found the truth, I knew that God has forgiven me. And no one else is permitted to judge me. So I walked with so much confidence. You had to see me pregnant. I wasn't hiding it. I was doing, nobody did paralysis. You see how we are seeing now? I was doing it. I did it all the way there, but confident. I walked on myself. I knew I can never be put at the back. So I walked with that. Because the Bible says, many of my daughters, the single ones that have no past around you, have done virtually well. But NK, they have excelled them all. Was it on me? No shaking. Do you understand? So I had that confidence. So when my husband, when Bishop brought us together and introduced us, I was like, this guy that I've introduced all these girls to, he's still having issues. He was still telling me, that one no, this one no, this one. He wasn't even born again. He was born again. He wasn't as strong spiritually as I was. But guess what? Today my husband, if your husband is around, I go and sleep. But there was a time in my marriage I was the one burning the candle. When my husband, when we're together, I wake up every night to pray. There's nothing prayer cannot do. My husband is was a military officer, retired military, a naval officer. So you should understand, he was every woman's kind of man. So I had them babes around, even those that walk up to me in church and ask me to go and sit at the back. Yes. And they want to sit in the front because we are going home and I'm going to your house. We have those that will come to my house and order me around. And pepper soup, auntie, pepper soup I'll eat today. They were flying in, not local things. My husband does not carry local girls. It's international girls. Girls that are in high positions. That's were my husband's kind of women. I was not even his kind of woman. Himself is not he was not my kind of man. Yes, so I would like. But what am I saying actually? I never allowed that to put me at the back. I kept on praying. I prayed for him. I prayed for him until he became who he is today. One of his birthday, I made him a portrait. A very big life-size portrait. That portrait is in my house. It's still, when you check some of my pictures, you will see that at the back. It's hanging at one corner, so that's why you're not seeing the length. It's really very long. And when he saw it, I paid so much money to get that portrait made. He was so excited. He was like, wow. He didn't know that it was a trap. That's my altar. That portrait. You see that place it is where I kept it on my staircase side. And there I did with that. When he's not around or when he's sleeping or whatever, that's where I go and command his soul. I speak to his soul looking at that portrait. I call him back. His wandering spirit, all that wandering spirit about that yellow girl and that black girl. I was calling him back. I did all that for years. By himself, he came back. Today people are saying that it's jazz. I didn't jazz anybody. They did because, I read one of the comments in that blog. And so they said, I can't see the husband being like, that girl has used something, a whole general being like, That's so, pray and I mobilize the guy. So there's nothing prayer cannot do. At the same time, you learn, women will talk too much. That is the truth. When I say this, somebody has challenged me one day and said to me, Enki, why would they are siding the guys that beat their wives? I said, I don't even understand. I said, if the man is mad, I will just see them, my husband will just come and start beating me. But because we talk, before the man talk one, you have talked 20. Sometimes it's the girls that go and be pushing the man. And when he beat you, whoa, the whole society will now say he's violent. We talk too much. You will learn to be quiet. There are certain things that you just have to be quiet about. You just have to be quiet about it and pray about it. God will hear you. We serve a prayer answering God. I am a testimony. It's not as if I am telling you anything without I have not practiced. I've practiced it. It worked. I've given this thing. I spoke to so many other girls about this, and it is working. I'm still working for them. When you find issues of phone, I know they blasted me on the social media because of that. I don't care, but it's the truth. Why should I check my husband's phone? In the first instance, what am I looking for? The Bible says love covers a multitude of sin. And we're made to understand that the evil you do not know will not hurt you. And the Bible also made us to understand that it is what you fear. It's a walk of faith. Living, pray. His conscience, that's what happened to my husband. Nobody, I'm sure that the day, if you ask me how did it, when, how many years after, and I will tell you I don't know. I just noticed that my husband is just falling into life. Everything is just taking shape. I said, how? Do you understand? Take your phone and do what? Okay, now that I've seen it, now when they ask, I said, now that you have seen it, what's next? The guy is sleeping, just like Bobby told us. Guys, I don't know whether you express the silent treatment. When your husband is not saying anything, you are not sleeping in the night, so you talk like this, you talk like that. Meanwhile, there's no! Why do I want to kill myself? Somebody said the answer I usually get to that is that what about if you go and get HIV, go and get this and all that? You will not get it. Pray. Carry only water. You pray, God, make that thing not fall short. See, there's nothing you cannot pray. I am telling you, that's what I did. Lord, even as he meets that girl tonight, may it not stand. I hold back. When you fire, it will stand. Or you give her money and you come back home. They have to ask God for this to start working when it's Do you understand? So there's power in prayers. Stop giving yourself stress. That's why some of you are looking too old for your age. It's true. When I see people put their 25 and I look at that, I look at the way you're looking. You're having so much stress thinking about man. You know, people say I look old, I'm 43. And they say I look, yes, I'm 43. And they say I look younger than my age. Why? I don't stress myself. I don't. I run, you see this NHN people are saying like this. NHN is not the only thing I run. No. I have NHN. I have another company I run that makes uniforms strictly for military officers, you know, and I have the factory in Dubai. I run one of my husband's business. I am one of the directors. I go to sign the deals. And I have one room. And then I have my children. I'm a wife and I'm a mother. And he asked me, okay, you must be a strong woman. It's just the grace of God. You know, every woman, God has created you for a purpose. When God was creating you, please, beautiful girl, stand up, the one already. You see, when God created this girl, it wasn't a mistake. When she was being created, he knew her end from her beginning. Whatever she is, let's say for example, you look like you're a designer, are you? A fashion designer? You're not, you look very fashionable. That's my kind of girl. You know, let's assume she's a fashion designer. Right from onset, God knew that she's going to be a fashion designer. Dion, that's your dream. You're going to be big. You already won. You know, so God already knew that she's going, let's just assume she's already a fashion designer. And already, God, the issue we have is most times we don't ask God for directions. We just go and run into something without asking for the process. You know? So as she's like this, God already knew the end of her. What she's going to be tomorrow. What's going to happen to her in the next 5 years. What's going to happen to her in the next 10 years. God knows. The next 20 years, God knows. In the next 50 years, God knows. Now, God also knows that in the next 2 years, she's going to experience a big miracle or a big break. God knows. Now, God also knows that she has the ability to be able to drag that 2 years, instead of waiting for 2 years, for her to get that miracle. Now, God knows that ability has been given to each and every one of us, and that can be done on our knees. Listen. Thank you.